Welcome back to Beyond the Helmet. That's hashtag BTH Pod if you're following on social media. Today, man, I get a chance to chop it up with Super Bowl champion, former Green Bay Packer, none other than Jermichael Finley. Jermichael, how are you doing today, man?
Man, I'm awesome, man. Just enjoying life and taking it one day at a time, buddy.
Man, I'm obviously very happy to hear that because not many guys have their last play on a football field go the way yours did. So the fact that things are going well, there's a smile on your face today, man. It's just one of those moments that anyone as a fan can just quickly realize how close things can really go from really going sideways. And I don't like to begin things on a low note, but just to hear
All
that you're
good.
doing well, um, man, just for anyone that hasn't been paying attention, what have you been doing recently? And, do you mind just bringing us all up to speed?
Oh man, recently I've been, of course, I have four wonderful boys that I parent, and I have started a company called ElevaTE, and it's a company involving kids, of course, training kids, showing kids the way to go as far as training, player development, and just giving them the insight on, if you want to make it in life, not even on the field, but beyond the field and off the field, things that the the tools that you to the next level and elevate your game.
So I read what you wrote on the Players Tribune a couple years ago, which was still a couple years after 2013. I think maybe 2017 is when you wrote it. What was it like for you opening up, particularly at that time, about how that whole process went? Not so much just dealing with a physical injury, but like the whole experience from that point on of basically what you had to do physically, and then completely separate from that, mentally. What did it, do you remember? Was it like stages of grief? How do we ultimately get to the spot today where you have ElevaTE and you can help young guys pursue their passion?
Yeah, ton of grief. It was something that I did my whole life. It was something that that took me to the level where generational wealth as far as my kids, my kids going to be good and things like that. So football helped me out tremendously. So ended it the way it ended wasn't so good. But at the end of the day, I found a way out that whole that as NFL players leaving the game, being broke, going bankrupt, and not finding a purpose. So I got into the realm of life where I was like, let me get out this rut, stop feeling sorry for myself, and let's get busy. And my kids, my oldest kid, Caden, helped me find a purpose as far as training him first, actually getting him groomed up, ready to go, and going. He loves football, so I'm trying my best to get him ready for it. So, and once again, I started to, I started thinking about it after we got done working. I should start some ElevaTE. We started dissecting it and going to the nitty gritty of it, and it just popped off. And now it's taken off. And when football season over this year is going to be some awesome to check out, and the growth of it's pretty amazing.
That's awesome. But you don't have reservations about your son or maybe multiple sons pursuing football.
At a point now where my oldest two, 13 now and 9-year old, where they saw me play football and they was like, "Dad, you." So I got stuck, and they not tiny boys. They thoroughbreds. They on the other side of man. They pretty big, and two youngest, and that's the kids I'm gonna be pretty patient about playing a game of football because they never seen me play. You know what I mean? But the older two, they're just like, "Dad, so it's one of those things, man. And I'm gonna enjoy seeing it. I'm gonna enjoy coaching them up. I'm gonna enjoy showing them the right way to play. And when they get older, the business be wicked on the other side.
And part of your decision on some level to walk away from the game stemmed from a very important financial decision you made to invest in an insurance policy. Now,
Next.
there's so many mental aspects of, you feeling okay about coming back, let alone physically you being able okay. But now let's throw in the business part of it, like this third thing to really consider. How much did that put your mind at ease that you don't have to go out there to play another snap?
I put my mind at a lot of ease because one, we played a game. One, I played a game because I loved it. So when you get to the next level, the National Football League, you go in. Now it's a business. It's as far as yourself. Um, and of course, I seen how I played the game the year prior before I got hurt, and then I went into the game. I'm playing this game pretty reckless. Let's just go. Let's go figure out what this disability policy about. And I give kudos to my agent at the time, Blake Baird, for athletes. Well, me and him went into the booth and we thought about it and we detailed it and we looked at it and was like, you're playing the game pretty reckless. You don't like going down. You don't like getting out of bounds. You don't like doing all these things that people do to protect themselves. That plays the position like you do. And as you can see, Devontae Adams get knocked out week 3 of the season, and of course he got up, but rare that you're going to get up for them type of hits. It's not that you built different; you just got lucky. Them are the kind of hits that you gotta snap back on, and you got to be like, You know what I mean? I got to protect myself at the end of the day because it is a game of what have you done for me lately. So that's the reason why I did it.
But you play tight end. How you're in the middle of the field. You got players coming from all sides. You don't have a boundary to protect half of the area where defenders can come from. I mean, you're never really in a position to play it safe. And I would imagine a pro athlete that's thinking about playing it safe no longer is playing at the peak of their game now, because now there's something in the back of their mind about protecting themselves instead of playing the way that they were going to play.
Absolutely, and I mean, I think the game of football, especially in the National Football League, it's luck. It's all luck. If you get 12 years, it's awesome. It's a blessing. But it's a game now where it's moving so fast. It's so violent. Players are getting bigger and faster. There's no way around it. You're going to get hit, and it's like not that you're going to get hurt. It's when you're going to get hurt. And I think that's the game that you got to accept if you want to play. It's a gridiron game.
Who would have imagined that your ACL injury was going to be nothing but a footnote when it came to yeah, the ups and downs of potentially getting hurt and just playing in the NFL.
Yeah, it's vicious, man, and that's one thing I tell my oldest kid because my 9-year-old he's just reckless. He's knocking kids. My 13-year-old I tell him it's a game where you got to pick your poison and you got to protect yourself and things like that. And man, it's a crazy game. And I mean, I thought I was going to play longer. I thought I was going to be at the next practice that Sunday. Well, it was the fourth quarter. I thought I was going to be at the next practice, but it goes to tell you it's a game where it's called any given Sunday, and you don't know, and you can't go into the game saying you can't go into the game scared because you will get hurt. You just got to go in and do your best, give it to your higher power, and just go play at the best you can.
Now, I have to ask because I've already alluded to it. The mental part of you leaving the game. What was the hardest part? I mean, was it maybe realizing that you were that close to maybe never walking again? Is it you wrote about this in the Players Tribune, basically the lack of people caring, that all that attention, the fame that comes with it? Was it that you now had a void in your life that you had to fill with another passion? I mean, could you put your finger on what made you lose the most amount of sleep?
What made me lose the most amount of sleep was once again you can never think forward. And I thought not just saying I thought forward because I played every game like it was my last because once again I loved it. But you can never think forward. And I put a number on my career as far as I wanted to play 12 years and call it. You know what I mean? Just because I had other things that I wanted to do, like a ElevaTE, like a pay it forward and give it to kids. But at the end of the day, you just got to play the game for what it is, and never think forward, and just go out and do your best, and pray for the best. And that's what I teach my kids is take it day by day.
Now, given the fact that you were 6'4", could run a 4.640,
Right.
how tough is it for you to now coach kids that maybe just don't have the physical gifts from God that you were
Yep.
able
Yep.
to just
Yep.
be blessed enough to have? I mean, now trying to help kids, and maybe it's even your own kids. Now that you've sort of transitioned down to being a coach, how do you sort of walk that line of understanding what people's limitations are, and trying to get them to that spot, even if they don't really necessarily have the gifts?
It's, that's a great question too. Is telling the kids to finish, one, do your best, two, and give it all you got. Because if you're 5'6" and you run a 4.4, use that speed to get past this big fella. If you 6'4" or 6'5" and you want to run what you want to run a 4.7, 4.8 more slower time, use your power now, and use your mind and your ability to get around this guy. So use everything you got to your ability and finish, and give everything you got to what you're going to put in if you want to play this game.
So when you were playing, and maybe this is when you were younger, maybe even in the pros, did you model your game after anyone? I mean, Tony Gonzalez kind of feels like the obvious comp, but I didn't know if you really took any time to.
I did, man. One thing is crazy is I grew up in poverty. I grew up where it wasn't much. You know what I mean? I rarely watched TV because I was so busy playing. I was so busy traveling, playing AAU basketball. So I get that question a lot, and never really thought about modeling my game out there. Tony Gonzalez, or of course I watched Tony Gates. Not Tony. Antonio Gates played multiple times, but I just thought myself was faster, bigger, stronger, and once again my luck just didn't fall in place. I was showing my skills at the time, but not to show my full potential, if you feel what I'm saying. But never modeled my game after anyone.
Got it. Now, I actually watched. It was called like an Untamed series. It's something that it looked like you had done maybe prior to the 2013 season, where you had kind of documented a little bit of your process of getting ready. And through that, you kind of talked a little bit about the upbringing. Your brother was involved in the making. It actually, it was ahead of its time. People today, I feel like everyone wants to put out something like that, but you had done it, 8 years ago.
Yep.
I bring that up because there's so much in that. I would absolutely recommend anyone Google it. But when you're a Longhorn and you have to make that decision about going pro, particularly if you're someone that's coming from poverty, as you've said, how much did you feel the pressure to just go out and make it versus risk another year of unpaid football?
Wow, great question. And the crazy part is, you know what I mean? I never really talked about this as far as in an interview. So it's crazy that you asked about the nitty gritty of leaving University of Texas. It was very hard. Actually, I'm meeting my buddy now for lunch that we left with, Jamal Charles. And it was a very, very, very hard decision. But me and Jamal Charles was roommates at the time. And I was like, you leave, I leave, bro. Just like that. Just like that. And we went into a debate of like, you know what I mean? We can't afford to go into, once again, thinking ahead of our times. Like, let's not play this next year because of it could be an extra year in our career. I got injured in the National Football League. So Jamal left, I left. Then Mac Brown came in with the political talk. Here at the University of Texas, we don't do that. And I was like, we're leaving, sir. Like, we're out. You know what I mean? Jamal came from pretty much the same background. I think one more year, you'll be a top 10 tight end. Jamal, you'll go number 1 overall. And I was just like, nah, man, we are leaving. I'm not. So we left, and and we did our thing, and I mean, had a great career. I think I had a great career for myself, especially from where I came from. So it was a very, very hard decision.
Now, do you, or and even Jamal, anyone that you talk to, does anyone really care that Texas looks like it's about to leave the Big 12 and go to the SEC? Is that something that you guys really care about at all? No.
Not really. I think it's competing. I think they're looking up, and I like it. And I'm a very, very big fan of Sarkisian. So I can't wait to see what he do at Texas. Hopefully he's a Mac Brown type, and can stay there long enough where he can see my kid.
And by the way, congratulations. I know that Madden came out with those like all campus rosters, and of course you were able to represent a tight end. Um, at this point
Yes,
in the
sir.
game, though,
Absolutely.
do you care? Like, I'm sure you're so focused on getting past stuff and what's next. Like, when someone pops up with an accolade like that, do you give it any attention?
I give it a little bit. You know what I mean? It's a great accomplishment. It's an awesome accomplishment on the next life and the next phase of my life. As accolades come out, it just goes to show that the tight end position, especially going to the NFL, the pass and splitting guys out and getting yards after the catch, I think I've done my best at it.
I don't think that there's any doubt there. One thing I wanted to hit on before we wrap it up is part of what you outlined in the Players Tribune is a dedication to meditating. Can you speak a little bit about to what that did, maybe to help you sort of quiet your mind, be able to get into that next stage of your life, and is it something that you still do today?
Absolutely, man. I got into it, of course, after the game. I went into a dark place, and of course, I'm a second chance guy. Don't want to get into the details of that, but it just I went to a place called Pure Sports Recovery, and it's out in Oxnard, California. And I went out there, and a little Jewish lady, Deborah Whitney, she's the CEO of the place now, showed me the way and how to meditate, and I started getting into it. And of course, I'm a impulsive person. I got that personality where if I see it, I like it, and start loving meditation. And you had to start, you had to crawl before you walk with that, because 3 to 5 minutes seems real short, but it's really long when you're meditating. And I got to a point where I could do 15 minutes, and it was something special. And you know what I mean? If it was my choice, I would say everybody should do it.
Definitely. Um, I also just wanted to quickly ask, in that Untamed series that you had filmed, it seemed like you were aware, or at least you thought that there was a perception of you as being, maybe too outspoken, and maybe the perception of you felt was that you were a selfish player. So when you just fast forward to today, because again, that's almost a decade old now, how do you feel people maybe think of you or thought of you? I mean, just when you were putting all that together, do you think that stuff still rings true today, or do you think you were dealt with or thought of as fairly?
Um, I still see it today. As far as me, when I get called, or ESPN call me, or all these guys call me to come talk or whatnot, they look at me as an outspoken guy. I'm a very forward guy. I'm a guy that's going to tell you, if you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you 100. It ain't going to be no sugarcoating on it or nothing. So I think they get that misconstrued, especially in the game, man. If you ask anybody I worked for or anybody that worked for me, probably the hardest worker that they probably today too. If you guys ask the McCarthy's or the guys that coach me, my agent, they'll say one of the hardest workers that you ever seen. So the spokenness come just from my hard work, and I know what I put into the game, and I know how much work I put in to put on a show on Sundays.
Definitely. Well, Jermichael, to wrap this up, what's the best piece of advice that we can leave this on? Something that you would give to a young, kid out there that sees what you were able to do and wants to chase that dream too.
Man, with a mindset that you're gonna do it. Wake up with a mindset that you ain't gonna let anyone or anything distract you from your goal And guess what? Go chase it and elevate and go get it.
There it is. Jermichael, thank you so much for taking the time. It's at Jermichael F88 on Twitter, at Jermichael Finley on Instagram, and of course, it's ElevaTE. That is where the future is for the Jermichael Finley brand. So, man, thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you too, man.